All right, while we're talking about matric examinations, let's hear from the unions. We are now joined via Zoom by Lorvica Mathews. She's the Executive Officer for Membership and Communications at the National Professional Teachers Organisation of South Africa, as well as SATU's spokesperson, Nomusa Cembi. A very good afternoon to you both. Thanks very much for joining us here on SABC News, ladies.
Good afternoon, Flo, and good afternoon to your viewers.
All right, Nomusa, let me start.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Let me start with you then, Nomusa. I mean, are you satisfied with the preparations that the Department of Education has made for the matric class of 2022? I mean, we're hearing that, of course, load shedding is a major concern, but that exams will be indeed rotated in a way that, learners are not affected by load shedding. What are your thoughts?
Thank you for your time. We welcome the announcement that the Education Department is going to work around the load shedding schedule. We were very much worried that learners may not be able to time or the load shedding schedules will not be accommodated. So we are relieved that the department has committed that it will take into account load shedding when it administers the examination, and we are happy with the fact that learners who could not write those who are doing IT and CAT will be allowed. Those who could not write will be allowed to write in December. However, it takes December is just too far. Learners at that time, you will find that there will be many things that will be affecting them. They may not concentrate fully as it will be in December. However, we are grateful that they will be given another chance to write if they cannot write because of load shedding.
All right, Lorvica, let me come to you. I mean, what are some of the concerns that you're having still, even though some of those concerns have indeed been addressed by the Education Minister this morning in her address? I know that the issue of load shedding had been a big one, but certainly that seems to have been addressed. Your thoughts then on the preparations?
Look, I am, as Natosa, we are satisfied with the preparations that have been put in place to accommodate the learners and to ensure that this is a smooth and fair examination process. However, the reality is that most of our children, load shedding has affected most of our learners at their homes, during their study sessions. Most of them can't afford generators. So that is a reality. But we are also cognizant of the fact that although preparations at home may have posed to be difficult, we know that our teachers assisted them as far as possible. And they've put in additional time and additional work to ensure that this cohort is indeed ready. We're also comfortable in knowing that this is a resilient group of learners. I mean, they've overcome a whole lot of challenges from the time that they were in grade 10 up until now. A whole lot of challenges were on their path, such as the high pregnancy rate during the grade 10 year and high dropout rate as well, and then COVID-19 as well. But they have continued to persevere, and we trust that they will continue to do so. We're also concerned about the mental wellness of our learners. We know this is a difficult time. A whole lot of pressure is placed on our learners. And we just ask that everyone, both in the homes, communities, and at schools, continue to provide our learners with the support, whether they achieve what everyone has set out for them to achieve, because we believe that they are able to do so. But we must also be mindful that a whole lot of learners are affected during this time due to stress and expectations from the adult counterparts.
And Lorvica, I'm glad you bring up the issue of mental wellness, because there's obviously a number of issues that certain matriculants might indeed be dealing with. I mean, there's issues. We've been dealing with COVID-19. Some have perhaps lost family members. Some of them just have difficulties in general. Are schools well and fully equipped to be dealing with the issues of mental wellness? I know the focus is always really sort of on academics and sport, but this crucial issue that you bring up, do you think, Lorvica, that the schools are equipped to deal with it, especially at a time like this when they are to sit for matric examinations?
I believe that our teachers are indeed prepared. I do believe that our teachers provide that parent component. And however, as indicated earlier on, it doesn't just stop at schools. Our community members also need to come to the party to assist our learners. But I do believe that our teachers are, in their parent component, able to assist our learners. But we will need everyone to come to the party to assist our learners. We need support from all sectors.
Yeah. Nomusa, I want to come to the issue of, the biggest sort of challenges at some of the schools, in particular when we look at areas like KZN, parts of the Eastern Cape and the Northwest, where we saw, some of the schools that were destroyed by whether it was storms or floods. From your knowledge, have those schools been fully equipped to write examinations? And what are your members saying? I mean, in terms of how that's affected, the way that they teach?
The floods really had a huge negative impact on both the learners and the teachers, particularly in these provinces. The department has been saying that they are doing their best to ensure that everything is in place for these learners to write. But, as you spoke earlier on the well-being, mental well-being of the learners, we feel that the learners in these provinces are at a disadvantage, because some of them will be writing in these exams when they have no homes, when they have no space, as are still living in community halls, because they still know the department or the government has not provided adequate shelter for them. So the mental wellness is quite a great issue, and we feel that not enough has been done to take care of that, so that they are resilient to be able to stand these examinations. However, we commend them for doing their best, even under these trying times, and even the teachers, even under these trying times, to make sure that they are able to write.
Yeah. All right, Lorvica, just close the conversation with you then. I mean, what do you anticipate in terms of those matric results that you obviously do anticipate after the matrics have been writing? And Nomusa talks about these trying times, and I know that this year's matrics, last year's matrics, who of course got their matric results, were announced in the early parts of this year, did particularly work well considering the trying times and the challenges that they had to deal with. Are we expecting this year's matrics to do even better? Lorvica? All right, we seem to have lost Lorvica there. Nomusa, I think I'll give that question to you then. I mean, what are you anticipating, when we finally do get those results? Are you expecting that this year's matrics will indeed do better than those last year? And I mean, bearing in mind that last year they performed quite well, considering the fact that they had those challenges and trying times that you speak of.
We always hope for a better outcome, even though the circumstances are not favorable. Last year, yes, we were very much surprised by the matric class of 2021, who did very well. We hope this class will also do their best, but we are aware that preparing for these examinations was quite a tough thing. Preparing for matric doesn't start in the matric year. It starts way back in grade 10, and we are fully aware grade 10, that grade 10 class, which is now grade 12, didn't have much time. The schools were closed. They only opened in July in 2020, and the schooling was on rotational basis. So and in 2021, we're still confronted with COVID-19, but they did their best. Government came up with catch-up programs. There was the trimming of the syllabus, but this year they've had to work harder to catch up because the syllabus had been trimmed, but the matric syllabus, matric paper is not trimmed to accommodate that. So they've had to work extra hard to compensate for that lost time. We are hoping for the best, but I'm telling you, this class had had more challenges.
All right, Nomusa, thanks very much then for giving us your time, although we lost her there. Lorvica Mathews as well joining us on this conversation. She's the Executive Officer of Membership and Communications at National Professional Teachers Organisation of South Africa, and Nomusa is the spokesperson for SABC.